This video explains how to use the split and unsplit functions in the R programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the R code. In this video I will show you two examples, and both of these examples are based on the data that we can create with lines 2 to 8 of the code. So in line 2 of the code we are creating a numeric vector ranging from 1 to 10. So if you run this line of code, you can see at the top right of RStudio that a new vector object is appearing, which is called vec. And we can print this vector to the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 3 of the code. And then you can see that we have created a vector with the values 1 to 10. In the next part, in lines 5 to 7, we are creating another vector which is called groups. So if you run these lines of code, you can see that another vector object is appearing at the top right, and we can print this vector to the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 8 of the code. And then you can see that we have created another vector object containing characters. So let's assume that we want to split our first vector, which is called vec, by the groups of our second vector, which is called groups. Then we can apply the split function, as you can see in line 10 of the code. And within the split function, we need to specify the name of the vector that we want to split, and we need to specify our group indicator. And then we are storing the output of this in a new data object, which is called mySplit. So if you run line 10 of the code, you can see that a new list object is appearing at the top right, which is called mySplit. And we can print this list to the RStudio console by running line 11 of the code. And then you can see at the bottom that we have created a list with 3 list elements. And these list elements correspond to the groups in our grouping vector. And the values in each of these list elements correspond to the values in our vector object. So in this first example, I have explained how to use the split function to split a vector by groups. However, we can also use the unsplit function to reverse this process, as you can see in line 13 of the code. So within the unsplit function, I'm specifying the list that I have created in the previous example. And then again, I'm specifying our group indicator. And then I'm storing the output of the unsplit function in a new data object, which is called myUnsplit. So if you run line 13 of the code, you can see that another vector object is appearing at the top right, which is called myUnsplit. And if you run line 14 of the code, the output of this data object is printed to the RStudio console. And then you can see that the values in the data object myUnsplit are exactly the same as in our input vector, which was called vec. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage, statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video, so you can find it there. If you have liked this video, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.